night was quiet, the kind of silence that felt unnatural. Alone in the house, the only sounds were the occasional creak of the wooden floor and the distant hum of the refrigerator. The house was old, its walls whispering with the echoes of its history. Sitting on the couch, scrolling mindlessly on the phone, a sudden chill swept through the room, the kind that made the skin prickle. A glance toward the window revealed it slightly open, though it had been locked earlier. The curtains swayed gently, as if someone had just been standing there. Standing up slowly, moving toward the window, heart pounding. Fingers reached out, pushing it closed. The latch clicked, securing it. A breath of relief. But just as the lock clicked into place, a shadow flickered in the reflection of the glass. Spinning around, eyes darting across the dimly lit room. Nothing. The doors were still locked. The house was empty. The mind could play tricks in the quiet of the night. Returning to the couch, trying to dismiss the unease. The phone's glow cast long shadows, distorting the furniture into unfamiliar shapes. A glance at the reflection in the screen, another shadow moved. The air grew heavy. A sound, soft yet distinct, came from the hallway. The slow, deliberate creak of a footstep on old wood. The kind of sound that didn't happen unless someone was there. Holding breath, listening. Another step, closer this time. Gripping the phone tighter, standing up again. The hallway stretched out, darker than it should have been. The switch was only a few steps away, but those steps felt impossible to take. Then another sound. Not from the hallway, but from behind, near the window. Turning back, the window was open again, wide open. The night air seeped in, bringing with it a scent, damp earth, something metallic. A faint sound, almost like breathing, from the darkness beyond the glass. Reaching out, slamming the window shut once more. But this time, before it locked, something cold and clammy brushed against the fingers, jerking back. The window locked, but the feeling lingered, backing away. The hallway was still dark, but it no longer felt empty. The air in the house had changed, a presence unseen but undeniable. Then, the softest whisper, a voice that wasn't a voice, just beyond hearing, but clear enough to freeze the blood. "You let me in." The hallway light flickered, then died. A breath of cold air brushed against the neck, turning sharply, but the room was empty. Then the unmistakable sound of the window creaking open again. It started as a quiet night, the house empty, the doors locked, the silence peaceful, alone but not afraid, at least not at first. The first sign was the rustling, soft, almost imperceptible, coming from the ceiling. At first it could be dismissed, the wind, maybe an animal outside. Then it moved, a slow, dragging sound shifting across the roof, too heavy for a bird, too deliberate for the wind. It scraped along the surface, stopping just above the living room. Looking up, the ceiling seemed unchanged, but the sound remained, moving, stopping, waiting, grabbing the phone, pretending not to hear, turning up the volume on the screen, drowning out the noise. It was easier to pretend it wasn't there. Then came the thump, a single, heavy impact, as if something had dropped onto the roof, right above. Then silence. Every muscle tensed, eyes locked on the ceiling. The mind raced. An animal? A falling branch? Something explainable? The silence stretched too long. Then the sound of scratching, faint at first, then growing. Claws against wood, slow, measured. It moved, following the ceiling's edge, stopping directly above. Holding breath, forcing stillness. The scratching turned to something else. A rhythmic tapping, deliberate. It knew someone was inside. Then it came from the walls. The same sound. Scratching, tapping, shifting, surrounding the house. Moving faster as if excited. The walls groaned under an unseen pressure. Backing away toward the center of the room, the phone useless in trembling hands. The sound grew louder, closer, pressing in from every direction. And then silence. A heartbeat of quiet. Then a whisper. Not words, just a breath against the ear. Spinning around, the room empty. The door still locked, the windows still shut. Then from the ceiling, the creak of something lowering itself down. A shadow stretched unnaturally long, spilling across the floor. Something was inside, a slow, scraping noise. Not from the roof anymore, but the walls, the corners. The house breathed with something else. The light flickered, and for a split second, something crawled across the ceiling. A glimpse. Too many limbs moving in unnatural ways. A face that wasn't a face. Empty, hollow eyes that stared without blinking. Then it dropped, scrambling backward. The thing landed with a soft, wet sound. It moved wrong, as if it didn't understand how to use its own body. But it was fast, running for the door, yanking at the handle. Locked. The scratching returned, this time from inside the walls, inside the floor. Then the whisper, right behind the ear. "Let me crawl inside." The lights died, a rush of movement, a scream swallowed in the dark. Morning came. The door was unlocked. The windows were shut tight. Everything looked untouched, except for the deep, clawed marks running across the ceiling.